Good morning and welcome to the first episode of Off the Bounce, Zone 6 Sports news show that is everything NBA. I'm your host Dylan McElroy and it is Friday, July 24th. We have a few topics to get through today, such as the new logo that will appear on NBA jerseys next year. I'm also going to be going through my predictions on how I think the NBA teams will finish out their season. And we're going to finish things off with the award races. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and roll our intro.
Since a youngin' I've been dreaming, told my brothers to the top, I'ma make it out the ghetto, playing ball out in the lot. Put my heart into the game, now I'm showing why I talk. Be about it, I'm about it, everybody knows my spot. Off the bounce, I'ma get it in. Off the bounce, I'ma get it in. 3-point shot, I'm flicking my wrist. Seeing me shoot, I swear I don't miss. Throwing it up, but you're going like Swish. Raining the buckets, we do it like this. Off the bounce, I'ma get it in. Off the bounce, I'ma get it in. Off the bounce.
Alright, well, the NBA announced that they will be making changes to the jerseys for the 2021 season. These changes come in the form of putting a Jumpman logo, the logo mostly synonymous with Michael Jordan, on the jerseys for the statement jerseys. If you don't know the difference between the statement, icon, or city jerseys, the statement jerseys are the jerseys that they typically would wear in an away game. The team replaces the Nike logo that is worn on the right shoulder with the Jumpman logo. Now, I understand what they're trying to do. Michael Jordan is somebody that definitely changed the game, and he's iconic. The shoes are the most selling basketball shoe of all time, and the athleticism that we see in the game today probably wouldn't be as popular as it is if it not for him. But I gotta say, I don't like this. And it's not just for these jerseys. I don't like it that his team, the Charlotte Hornets, have always had this Jumpman logo, and I don't like that we use it for the All-Star game. To me, the Jumpman logo is just another endorsement, and I think that it belongs on that other side, or where they typically have the endorsements. We see this with the New Orleans Pelicans and their Zatarain's logo, the Lakers with Wish. If Michael Jordan, as the GM of the Charlotte Hornets, wants to put a Jumpman logo, let him put the logo on there. It's his endorsement, it's his brand. Completely on board with that. But if Nike's the sponsor for these jerseys, I don't understand why we would put the Jumpman logo. Now, you can also say that Nike and Jordan are pretty much the same company at this point, but I still feel like if Nike's the endorser, then that Nike should be on there, and Jordan's just another brand. I feel like it's a way that they want to pay respect to Jordan, but I think it could be done much better. Whether I like it or not, these are going to be on the jerseys next year, and it's still not that big of a deal. I remember whenever the first endorsements came out, how much of a deal people made those, and those really don't bother me either. It doesn't affect the game, and you almost don't recognize, you don't realize that that's on there anymore. So if that's the direction the league chooses to go in, I'm just happy that basketball's back. So my next topic that I want to get into is my predictions for how I think these NBA teams will finish off their season inside the bubble. So as it stands right now, the West has 13 teams inside the bubble, and the East has 9. Out of the 13 teams in the West, there's about three of them, and that would be the Blazers, the Pelicans, and the Kings. They all have a similar record, and I believe that any one of these teams could make the push for that 8th seed, and they're the closest. The Spurs and the Suns, I don't really see why they were invited. On the East side, I don't understand. The Wizards are 24, and the closest team to them is 30. And with the loss of their leading scorer, Bradley Beal, I don't understand, what are they really proving by inviting the Wizards? I think that they could have just shaved off a few teams on the West and that one team on the East. The way I did this, I went through on the website and I went through all the games and I decided who would win this. And that's what I based my predictions off of. And out of my predictions, I had 3 teams that improved on the West and 2 teams that improved in the East. In the West, the Jazz went from the 4 seed to the 3 seed, the Rockets went from the 6 seed to the 5 seed, and the Pelicans increased from the 10th seed to the 9th seed. On the East, the Sixers went from 6 to 5, and the Magic went from 8 to 7. The most impressive thing, I think, whenever I review these standings based off of my predictions is the record of the Raptors. I feel like a lot of people don't realize that with the rest of the regular season, I think that they would have got close to what they got last year, which was 58 wins. And based off of my predictions, they're 51-21. That's only 7 games shy, really. And that's impressive, especially whenever you lose a player of Kawhi Leonard's stature. The most disappointing things from these predictions, number 1 is the Wizards. I didn't have them winning a single game whenever I went through the schedule. And if you look at how I have it, the Nets, they're ahead of them by 7 games. And that's a lot. I mean, you only have 8 games to play and they completely were a non-factor. And another thing that's disappointing is the Pelicans. They came 1 game shy of actually making the A seed. In fact, it was a matchup between the Magic and the Pelicans that for some reason I think that the Magic would get that win over the Pelicans. And that's the game that kind of done them in. If they would have won that game, they would be 34-38, which would give them the better record over the Grizzlies and put them in the playoff race, which is what everybody wants. That Zion-LeBron matchup, Anthony Davis versus the Pelicans matchup. But sadly, based off of my predictions, I think they don't make it, but it's very, very close. Lastly, but not least, let's go through my predictions for the 2019-2020 awards. First thing that we're going to discuss is Coach of the Year. Just like I discussed with my predictions for the standings and how impressive the Raptors' record was, all credit goes to Nick Nurse. And the same things I said, you lose a two-way superstar like Kawhi Leonard and you're expected to falter a little bit. They were the number 2 seed last year, they're still the number 2 seed this year. And a lot of this comes from the improvement from Pascal Siakam, but you still got to give Nick Nurse credit for how this team has managed to sustain their success. And he won a championship as a rookie coach, and it kind of showed that it wasn't a fluke by him being able to maintain their success. Next on the list is Most Improved Player. For my Most Improved Player of the Year, it has to be Bam Adebayo. He nearly doubled his points per game. Last year he averaged 8.9 points per game, and now this year he's averaging 16 points per game. He also averaged 3 more assists and rebounds than he did last year, with his rebound numbers going from 7 to 10 and his assist numbers going from 2 to 5. It was very impressive. And the icing on top of the cake is that first-time All-Star. I think he deserves it. Second place for this was definitely Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's done some amazing things this year. If it hadn't been for the amount of success that Bam was all able to do over the year, it'd probably be Bam. And also if the Pelicans were a little bit more successful. For my 6th man of the year is Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder averages enough to make him a starting point guard on any other team that doesn't have Chris Paul. Right now he's averaging 19-4-4, and he's on a team that was expected to tank, but actually increased their record from last year. Last year they were the 6th seed, now they're the 5th seed. So it's very impressive. And for this award, I would have liked to give it to Lou Will again, but I just feel like there's a little bit of voter fatigue in that, and that Dennis kind of deserves it. He's on a team that wasn't expected to do this, while Lou Will was on a team that was expected to do this. Rookie of the Year, this is without a question Ja Morant. Now, I said back whenever our show was Zone 623 that in order for Zion to get this award, which I feel is Ja's only competition, that he would have had to beat them record-wise, and I just don't feel like we got to see enough from Zion. I mean, we had the 19 games where we had a whole season of watching Ja Morant take over the league as a point guard. He, in my opinion, he's along those lines of the LeBrons and Lucas that are in recent memory that came into the league and were instantly NBA ready. Right now he's averaging 17, 7, and 3. And he's also on a team that was expected to tank, but actually brought them, not just brought them, he led them to a playoff seed. So definitely the Rookie of the Year, and there is no second option because, like I said, we didn't see enough from Zion. For my Defensive Player of the Year, it was a toss-up between these two guys, but I ended up going with Giannis Antetokounmpo. My second option for this was Anthony Davis. And while Giannis doesn't have the defensive stats that Anthony Davis may have, like the blocks and steals, he definitely affects everything whenever he's on the defensive end. And if you need him to make that defensive play, he's there. And he's there in the clutch moments. So Giannis Antetokounmpo gets my Defensive Player of the Year, which can only mean that my MVP for the 2019-2020 season is LeBron James. This gives LeBron his 5th MVP award. Right now he is leading the league in assists, which is crazy. Now LeBron's always had good assist numbers. He's averaged 27, 7, and 7 for most of his career. But this season he took a little dip in the points, only averaging 25, but his assist numbers shot up. So he's averaging around 10 assists a game. And the thing that's crazy about this is that not only is he dominant through 35 years old, we watched Kobe Bryant those last couple of years, even fighting through injuries, still be kind of dominant on a Lakers team that wasn't really doing anything. So dominant at 35 is one thing, but this is also his 17th year. And for his 17th year to not lose anything, but also gain a couple things, it's remarkable. And it's storybook. He also took a team that didn't even make the playoffs last year and now is on pace to have the best record in the conference, provided after the bubble games. And the big argument here would be between Giannis and LeBron. Now, a lot of things that people like to do is, you take Giannis off of a team and what do they become? And you take LeBron off of a team, what they become? Now, we've seen this with LeBron, where he left Cleveland and their lottery team. He went to Miami, left Miami, they start not making the playoffs, went back to Cleveland. He leaves Cleveland, they're not making the playoffs again. So he definitely has an argument for whatever team that's how crucial he is to a team. He leaves and you're a lottery team now. But I feel like if you take either Giannis or LeBron off their respective teams, that these teams are still playoff teams. I think the Lakers are still a 5 or 6 seed team with just Anthony Davis, and I think that the Bucks are a 5, 6 seed team because of their overall team. They're similar to the 2004 Detroit Pistons. But and the other big thing is, Giannis's running mate is Chris Middleton, while LeBron has Anthony Davis. Which, no disrespect to Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis has been the guy in New Orleans for the past 7 or 8 years, and they never went anywhere. Whereas now he's on a team with LeBron, and all of a sudden they're the number 1 seed. So definitely think LeBron deserves it. Well, that's all we have for today. We'll be back next week. Hopefully by then we have some highlights and updates that we can get through, and we can actually see how's this bubble gonna be outside of the scrimmages. So look forward to that. Also check out On the Clock. On the Clock will be a daily show that will go through any game highlights that were previously on the day before. But until next time, I've been Dylan McElroy. See you soon.